Hello, greetings. My name is Omsay Cliff.
This is Dorothy Anderson.
Valer Radway.
Garfield Robinson.
My name is Lascelles Forest.
KLAT. My name is Adasa Radway, and this is my Windrush story.
I am from Jamaica, in the country side in Jamaica. I am one of 7 children, and I came to the United Kingdom, to Bristol, in 1968. And talking about myself, I want to mention my amazing mom, because it's because of her why I'm here. She came to this country by herself. Dad didn't come, and she worked, and eventually she paid for all of us to come to the UK. So I have to give her honor and credit for doing that. Yeah.
I'm from Jamaica. I came here at the age of 11 and lived in Wales, and also traveled to different parts of the United Kingdom, because I've been to the West Midlands, to Yorkshire, and I spent 10 years of my life in the wonderful Freeport, Grand Bahamas Islands.
Well, I currently live in Newport, but I was born in Jamaica, and I came to the United Kingdom when I was almost 12 years old. That was back in 1965. I came in November. It was extremely cold. That I remember very well. And you know, I often laugh and say to people that I'm still cold. I feel the cold all the time, you know, but yeah, it's what it is. With family, with my sisters, my siblings, playing, with friends at school as well. Some of school was fun. Some of it wasn't so much fun. Going to church as well sometimes when I was younger, because church played a big role in my life. You know, my family were devout Christians, and so we had to go to church a lot. But often it was fun as well, because you know, the people that we knew, other people my age, you'd have a laugh with in church. Sometimes you get into trouble, you get telling off. But that's what it was. It was really it was probably the social activity of the day for us, really. Yeah. So it's strange thinking about it in that way now. I've never considered it as such.
I'm from Jamaica. I came here in the early 60s. I came up with one of my friends, and we thought when it was coming, you know, it would be so special, it would be so wonderful. We heard about Madam Country, which they invite us to come, and we were excited. We were thinking, gosh, this journey is special. But when we get here, it was so different in so many ways.
Originally, I'm from Jamaica, right? So I came here in 2001 at the ripe old age of 39, and I've been living here ever since. But I am proud that I was born and I grew up in Jamaica, because sometimes I see things happening and I can pull on what I call common sense, and I realize that common sense is not common. So I'm really proud of how I grew up, but being able to come to this country. I mean, my dad was here, so I think I followed him, but he didn't like it, so I went to America. But I'm really happy to be with the Windrush Elders, because that's how we pass on the stories. And we learn from them the things that we didn't experience, but it also makes our experience richer, and knowing what our parents or grandparents had gone through.
I was originally born in Jamaica, of the West Indies, as many people would know. It's a pretty famous, and rightly so, place in the world. Jamaica having produced so many great artists, and not only that, people who have been inventors, people who have served societies, famous doctors, nurses, people who have been through the wars. So many things I've learned from my elders, I was lucky my dear mother, with her courageous spirit, who sent for all of her children to come to the United Kingdom. I was the first to come here at the age of 9 years old, and it was an enlightening experience, even at 9, and I still remember it today like the first day. Getting on the boats, which was like a spaceship.
I cannot remember using the word home, but I mean, I live there, you know, and a sense of belonging in terms of home, I don't feel that strongly, yeah. But I do know that I'm a British citizen. I got a British passport. I've contributed. I was in the army, so I understand all of that, yeah. But there's always a sense of not having a total sense of belonging, and when I feel that, then I could say this is my home in the truest sense.
Home is a place which, don't care what situations are, you find everything there. The love, the happiness, the friendliness, the family circle, and everybody looks after each other. Everybody is such one big family, and you just don't brought up with just your immediate family. The whole district look after everybody, and home is just a beautiful thing for home. So when you come to England and see, it's so different.
A lovely place with so many wonderful, well, blessed fruits and vegetables, from mangoes to okra to you name it, things that breadfruit, coconuts coming off the tree, chocolate. You can pick your own chocolate and make any kind of things that people buy in the shops now.
When I came to join my parents, and I was one of 3 that came on the plane that day. So I was age 11, my late brother, he was age 9, and my sister was 7. So it was quite an adventurous journey, not without its trials, because my sister was not very well on the plane, and so that became, you know, quite concerning. But it was great that I was able to come and now join my elder sister, who had come to the UK 2 years before us, and then to join our parents as well, that we'd not seen for a number of years. So that was a great experience in that.
I remember the first day I came to England, not Wales, England, right? And I came out at Heathrow Airport, right? It was Air Jamaica them times. Yeah, that's a long time. That's many years ago. And I remember looking out. It's a kind of fun memory, but when I looked out, all I saw was shades of grey. The buildings was grey, the fog was grey. I don't know if there was anything else, but everything was grey.
My father was a great philosopher, and he used to tell us, all these proverbs and so on. And one of them was labor for learning before you grow old, because learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold may vanish away, but a good education will never decay. So we heard all of that, we heard things like, chicken a go big, you see it from them foot. Well, what that means is, if you're going to be ambitious or get anywhere in life, it doesn't start when you become an adult. It starts from being nurtured as a child. So I often tell those stories to my nieces, my nephews, my great nieces and great nephews, and also because I trained to be a teacher and became one, and became the head of the Ethnic Minority Achievement Service in one of our largest cities in the UK. I held a lot of conferences for head teachers and others, other educationalists, to help them to understand ways in which they could engage children from African Caribbean heritages. So I used a lot of those proverbs in those training sessions, and people actually love them. And so, so do my nieces and nephews. They have helped to shape my life because there are so many morals to those stories as they were told. And so, yes, I learned a lot of them from my father.
I didn't grow up on a lot of fast food, right? Because I grew up in the country, right? You can walk to the tree and you pick an orange and you peel it. So it's not this like one whole box of orange juice. I mean, we peel an orange and we satisfied one orange for the day. I mean, my dad was a farmer, but at the same time, he was also a carpenter, right? So on the farmer bit, we would plant our own yam, plant potatoes, plant most things that we need for the household, right? And then as a carpenter now, he was able to make things. So for example, the dining table that we ate around, we didn't go to the shop and buy it, he made it. And the chairs and everything, he made all of that. And he would make things for people in the community. So I come from a background where people made things themselves. We didn't have to wait on someone somewhere. And then my mom was a teacher. So I think I've carried that through with me, you know. And for the young people watching this, I mean, the lesson in all of what I'm saying is that try to find something good in the adults you're around, right? Someone who maybe inspires you, someone who's always doing something good. Because to be honest enough, from you're about 4 years old, you know the difference between good and bad. So look for something good and try to follow it, try to emulate it, try to pass it on to someone else.
Some of the memories wasn't all that fun, but it was an experience which I didn't expect. But we know that we wanted something and we got to fight to get what we wanted. And as for my experience, well, when I came here and started working the nursing, we come across a lot of challenges, lot of disappointing that could have turned you back. But I decided I'm not going to go back. I decided I'm going to be strong and I'm going to fight. Because you came here for one thing from traveling so far, and all the bumps on the way and the struggles, you won't turn back. Because I remember once working with this lady when we started first, and she said to me, "Get your black hands off me." And I thought, these black hands are caring for you. These black hands are loving you. So we continue to do the best for them. We continue to love them because that's what we believe in: caring, loving, nurturing.
When I talk about values, I'm thinking mainly what I've learned from the Caribbean. I like respect for elders, you know, having ambition. But I want to talk more about African values, you know, like the principle of Ubuntu, for example. Those are the values I think we need to live by. There's also this concept of Sankofa, which is to go back and fetch it. So we've lost so much of our culture. So going back and retrieve the best of our culture and using that to elevate our people is one of the values I think is important. Principle of Mahat. And those concepts are what I feel are important for us. It's well known what our people, African people, that's what I'm talking about, yeah, have given to the world. And we celebrate that. I will begin to celebrate it more. What we don't celebrate enough is those values. We do singing and dancing and music, which is fantastic. But there's those deeper values that I think will enrich our lives and connect us better together as a people. You know, so that's what I think are important values. You know, there's this African saying, each one teach one. We need to embrace those kind of principles. The principle of Kwanzaa. You know, some people may not know what these things mean, but these are things that we can find out about.
Well, I guess the biggest tradition would be respect for elders. isn't it? It's like growing up as a child. You know, you had to respect family, your parents, and not only that, but also the wider community. Because in Newport at the time, it was a very strong Caribbean community, and people knew everybody. If you misbehave on the street, often before you got home, your parents, my dad would know about it. So, you know, I had to make sure that I behaved myself.
All of the stuff that's gone on, that many of the Windrush generations have gone through. And I would just like to say for the future that people can learn from this about mankind being kind to mankind. Leave the unkind stuff, because, you know, there's a wealth of stuff to be had if you give it a chance. You know, so, and I'd never like to see anybody go through what we've gone through as a family ever again. It was horrendous. Yes, we made it soulful and we made it doable and livable, but there is so much that we could have given to the world, you know, and for the world to have enjoyed.
It shaped them and same time shake them. Because they didn't realize there's so much we can do and there's so much, there's more to be done. And they realize that we're not just a black spot, but we are here as strong, you find intelligent, in every field, in the doctors, in the nurses, in the hospital, in every trade unions, the train drivers, they are there. And they can't get away from us anymore. So we are strong and only want to go stronger.
Well, I think like our generation and, you know, or children as well, like the younger generation, we have shaped British culture in every single way of life. We've shaped it. You know, from the way we dress, the colorfulness, the vibrancy that we have, our sense of humor, you know, the fact that we embrace our elders as well and look out for our elders, all of that. The jobs that we've done and people have put up with, you know, a lot of discrimination at work, just so that their children can have a better life, a better future. For instance, my father, because I remember asking him, you know, why did you come to England? Because I couldn't understand why he wanted to come to this country. And he told me that he came, it was important for him to come when he had the opportunity to do so, because he wanted us, his children, to have a better education. So I guess, and in my family, you know, that do well at school, get your homework done, all of that was important when I was growing up. Even though we had to go to church, because we had to be in church on a Sunday, but you still had to get your homework done. You still had to do well at school.
I'm not Windrush myself, but what I'm seeing is the whole story, the whole history of the Windrush ship, the Windrush people that came off the ship, the people that came in that generation. It's part of British history, right? So it's part of what happened in the British Empire or region or whatever you want to call it. So it's not like Windrush history is like a separate piece of history that happened halfway around the world. It happened here.
That I think is really, really important, because we should always honor, respect and elevate the people that came before us. I refer to them as this historic, you know, pioneering golden generation. I think the word Windrush doesn't do those people justice, you know. So celebrating their achievement, their contribution, I think is a fantastic thing for us to do. But I think we should not talk about our story, our history just under the umbrella of the Windrush generation. That's not from 1948. In fact, it's 2018 that people began to use that term. We existed before then, we created history before then, and I think the Windrush story is just part of our ongoing stories. So, so when I talk about hostile environment, for me, I think we've always been under hostile environment. Dare I say, since we got in contact with Europeans, that has been a very hostile kind of contact. Having said all of that, celebrating the work of that generation is fantastic. Not only because of what they've done for this country, but as well as building the country, they were building families, building communities. And we should talk about those things as well. But yes, we should always elevate.
It's a double-edged sword, really, that Windrush, the whole situation and how it came about. Because it's good now that we are being recognized for our contribution, but it shouldn't be that we have had to face so much injustice in order for that recognition to come about.
I'm still reeling from the fact that I'm involved in it. It's overwhelming in a lot of ways. It's exciting in some ways, but I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, how did this happen? When did this happen? I just cannot believe that I have my story, my lived experience is of interest to anyone, let alone be now part of the fabrics of history. I mean, we've just had the Voice newspaper with the front page and my image is there. I cannot believe it. I still cannot believe it. Here I came as an 11-year-old, went through lots and lots of the struggles and different things, and really took an opportunity to talk about those things, to raise Castle Cumbria when we were doing the film, having no inclination or idea that this would become so momentous.
Oh, we appreciate the Windrush generation today so much, because we got to, first of all, we got to give thanks for the head one who started, like Roma and Professor Hooser. We got so much to give her, to give thanks for her, because she's just wonderful. She done so much for us, more than we ever know. She helping and she working and she continue work for us. And the Windrush means so much to me.
When I was struggling in the army and time was difficult, I remember a song from Bob Marley. It's called Burning and Looting, right? But at the time when I was in the army and I was experiencing difficult discrimination, and I felt that I felt down pressed, and Bob Marley's song was, the verse I stood out for me was when he said, "This morning I woke up in a curfew. Oh God, I was a prisoner too. I could not recognize those faces standing over me. They were all dressed in uniform of brutality. How many rivers do we have to cross before we can speak to the boss? All that we had, it seemed we have lost. We must have really paid the cost." I was in the army and it felt that I was in a curfew in the British Army. So that song awakened my consciousness as a black person. And from there, it took me on a journey to try and reconnect with African values and African culture.
Do you know what I love? It's a song by Gloria Estefan. Whenever I'm feeling down, I always play it, Coming Out of the Dark. Yeah, it's uplifting. Yeah, I feel the light shining on me. I think that's some of the lyrics within that song.
There is a little song when we used to go to Sunday school, and we used to sing, "Sunshine, Jesus love you for the sunshine." And sunshine, glorious sunshine, Jesus love you for the sunshine. And the sunshines mean so much to us that we must keep shining. Shine, shine, shine.
If you give me any Bob Marley song, but until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is abolished, there will always be war. I don't love war, I love the Bob Marley song, which is a timeless song.
Every Sunday we used to get rice and peas and chicken. Now people might, for those who don't know the Caribbean cuisine, they might think that peas is like garden peas. No, I mean there are different types of peas. There is like gungo peas, there is red kidney beans, there is rose cocoa beans, there's black eye beans. So in Jamaica, it doesn't matter what variety, they're all called peas. So our main food on a Sunday was rice and peas and chicken. Now chicken was cooked in a way that it was seasoned with lots of herbs, marinated, and then it was sort of browned and then cooked down with onions and gravy. And so it was finger licking good. Kentucky has, KFC has nothing on it.
I like escovitch fish, which is like a Jamaican fried fish, and then they fry it up with onions and peppers and vinegar and throw it over the fish, and then it's gorgeous, yes. Yeah, I love that.
The curry goat, the scabbage fish, the fried plantain, fried dumpling, making some callaloo and all different spicy dishes. There are so many of them.
The meal that does it for me, so to speak, and it's something from my very early childhood. And I remember my mother cooking it. I can taste it now in the kitchen. Ackee and saltfish. It was one of it's one of Jamaica's most famous dishes. It's so natural. It's mostly vegetarian. Saltfish with the akis and the spices and the peppers, and sometimes you'd have it with rice, sometimes they'd make bakes, or sometimes they'd, when I say baked flour or boiled flour, and other vegetables, of course.
When I got married, my wife didn't like to drink soup. And over the years, most Saturday I would cook soup, and eventually she's a convert, so she loves soup. Then our relatives not far away used to travel to us, maybe 10, 15 miles on a Saturday to get some soup. If she ever calls her sister and say, you know, Sagiri, I cook soup, they're coming over for soup, right?
That's a beautiful question, you know. And I think for me, it's about them knowing what their ancestors have contributed. It's about them having a sense of pride and dignity in themselves, of who they are, no apologies for anything, because they can say, we have contributed, my ancestors, my parents have contributed, we've done great things. So it's for them not to put any limits whatsoever on their potential and what they can do. And for them to always remember, because that's the other thing, we live in a society that disconnect our young people from their culture, from their values, and I would want for them to remain connected to communities, to their people, and celebrate life and interact with everyone, but to remain rooted and grounded in their culture, in their values.
I think resilience. You know, when we were growing up, our parents, education was really something that they emphasized. My mother used to say to us, make sure you get something in your head because nobody can lick it out of you. Because, I mean, in Jamaica, they use the term lick, you know, when it comes to hit it out. And she would say, just make sure, she used to say at the time, that you're going to need O levels, because before it was GCSEs, it was O levels and A levels. She used to say you're going to need O levels to sweep the streets, meaning that if you want a job even to be a road sweeper, you're going to need qualification. So we were encouraged all the time to ensure that we got our work done, we got our homework done, no matter what was going on. And you had to just endure anything that came your way.
First of all, they are not a foreigner. This is their home. They are British through and through. So they need to just grasp everything, I think, that British life and British society can offer them. You know, make the most of family, make the most of education. I'm repeating what my dad has said to us. But I think it's important to have a good grounding. And by that, I don't mean having to go to university, but to have a good general basic education and to use it. And also the respect for self. You've got to learn to understand that that has to come from you and that you've got to, on the whole, work hard for what you want to and go for what you want, go after what you want, work for it. It is possible to achieve it, you know. It might take a bit longer because I think that's still around. Like when we were younger, you know, my parents used to say to us, you have to work harder than your English friend or your Welsh friend, as it might be. And I still think that it's still there, but it shouldn't be, but it's still there. You have to work harder. But it's possible to be successful. You have to follow your heart, really, and be single-minded. You've got to be single-minded. And be mindful of your friends, because sometimes your friends can define and will define you, sometimes.
We black people, we struggled, but when we haven't got any education, we even struggle more. And now if we have the opportunity, grasp it with two hands and take on the opportunity of learning all what you can. Sometimes now it doesn't mean anything, but as time goes on and you get older, you're thinking, gosh, I'm so glad I done that. So important. And I hope that all the young people today a lot of the young people should come in and listen to the older people and know and see what they are coming from and thinking how much it is and how important it is for that education.
Believe in yourself. Believe in the gifts, that God-given gifts that you have, because it's there for a reason, to make the world a better place. And that's what we discovered. And I did everything, and we did everything, and even now, in our power, to make this world what it was, and what it should be. A heavenly gift. And I know you would have been brought up with that from your parents, from, you know, places of heritage. It's not just about you, it's about the gifts. What you're going to do with them. You're going to enjoy them, you're going to cherish them, and you're going to show others how to cherish them and enjoy them.